Vaasa is a city on the shore of the Gulf of Bothnia in the northwest of Finland, about 420 kilometers from Helsinki. It is the cultural and educational center of Ostrobothnia, a city with a special atmosphere where the past has left many traces and the present reflects on them with care. What secrets are hidden in its history? What gives this coastal city its unique appeal? Why is Vaasa appreciated by both residents and visitors? Welcome to the Visual Tours channel. Let's travel through the centuries to the present day, following the key landmarks and streets of Vaasa. We begin at zero, the place where it all started. On top of a hill, among the ruins of the old Korsholm Castle, there is a granite cross with the words, "Here the cross of Christ was raised, on the land of the pagan north." At the beginning of the 1300s, this place was an island. It was the first stronghold of the Swedish crown, which controlled sea routes and served as an administrative center. It was captured by Baltic pirates, but later returned under the rule of the crown. Over time, a stone castle was built, and the sea slowly moved away. The island of Hietasaari then lost its military importance. The first known owner of Korsholm was Bo Jonsson Grip, whose lands covered large areas on both sides of the Gulf of Bothnia. Around the same time, closer to the center of what would become the town, the stone church of St. Mary was built. Construction began at the end of the 15th century. In 1606, King Charles IX from the Vaasa dynasty founded the town near the old harbor and gave it the name and coat of arms of his family. Across from the church, there is the foundation of the Trivial Skolan School, which was built in 1691. The future national poet Johann Ludwig Runeberg studied there from 1815 to 1822. In the ancient ruins, parts of the church bell tower have also survived. It was covered and restored in 2009. In the 17th century, Vaasa was a prosperous town. Trade grew and people became wealthier. But at the start of the Great Northern War in the early 1700s, the town was destroyed. Ships were burned, the church was looted, and valuables were stolen. This time is called the Great Trouble in Chronicles. Most of the people fled to Sweden. After the war, the Church of St. Mary was rebuilt in the shape of a cross and became the main church of the region. In 1765, Vaasa was given the right to engage in foreign trade, which led to a new period of growth. But this did not last long. In the summer of 1808, during the war with Russia, the town was destroyed again. Hundreds of people died. As a result of the war ending in 1809, all of Finland became part of the Russian Empire as an autonomous Grand Duchy. Then, in 1852, a great fire broke out. The Church of St. Mary burned down, but its stone walls remained. Only the foundation was left of the school. The fire destroyed 379 buildings out of 400. For a wooden town, the destruction was disastrous. But some stone buildings of the old town have survived to this day. One of them is the building of the Court of Appeal. After the fire, in the 1870s, architect Carl Axel Zetterberg added a tall bell tower to it, and the building was turned into Korsholm Church. A new courthouse was built in another place, which we will see later. Also well preserved is the house of Abraham Philander, the most important businessman in Ostrobothnia, a ship owner, and the founder of factories and mills. King Gustav IV Adolf gave him a noble title and the name Vaasa Stjärna. Today, this building houses the Old Vaasa Museum. In the museum yard, there are wooden buildings moved from the surrounding areas, creating the feeling of old times. The Luco cottage, belonging to a peasant merchant, which survived well after the Great Trouble. A barn and a cowshed, farm buildings from the 19th century, moved from modern Vasa. They show the life and architecture of the old town. After the fire, the provincial authorities decided not to rebuild the town in the same place, but to move it 7 kilometers to the west. On the Clemetso Peninsula, they chose an area closer to the sea, which made it easier to build a new port. Now we move there. On the northern edge of the peninsula is the district of Hietasaari. Today, there are sports centers, a swimming pool, stadiums, parks, and a city beach. There's also the Vaasa Central Hospital, the biggest medical center in the Ostrobothnia region. It has an emergency department for urgent care and many special departments offering different medical services. Further into the city is the Vaasan Kompassi residential complex. These are two curved 7-story buildings built between 2010 and 2013. They create a modern urban area where old barracks used to be and fit well with the brick architecture of the city. Right behind this complex are old wooden buildings that used to be an armory warehouse and a cannon garage. Today, these buildings are restored and improved. People can rent them for events, celebrations, and concerts. It was here, in 1855, that the first work started to drain and level the land for building the new city. Emperor Nicholas I provided significant funds from the Russian treasury for this purpose. The main architect was Carl Axel Zetterberg, a Swedish designer. On the city plan he created, you can clearly see that the streets and blocks were divided by wide, straight avenues, designed with fire safety in mind. After Russia's defeat in the Crimean War, there was a need to strengthen military presence in western Finland. So along with new residential areas, a military garrison was planned for the new city. In that same year, 1855, Emperor Nicholas I died, and his son took the throne. Russian merchants and patrons who took part in building Vaasa started preparing a petition to rename the city Nikolajstad, even though many locals were against it. They asked the historian and writer Zacharias Topelius to write the text of the petition, and the new Emperor Alexander II approved it. So in all Russian documents, the city began to appear under its new name, while for the Finnish population, it continued to be known as Vaasa. The oldest building in the garrison area is a 3-story brick barracks built in the 1860s. Several wooden barracks were added a bit later. The Orthodox Church of St. Nicholas the Wonder Worker, also designed by Zetterberg, was built in the center of the Garrison Park in 1866. In November 1881, a new law on mandatory military service came into effect, which required Finland to build a national army of 5,000 men. Because of this, the largest phase of construction in the garrison area took place between 1879 and 1882, when 31 buildings were constructed for a sharpshooter battalion. The barracks continued to be used for military purposes until the end of 1998. At the edge of the park stands a memorial complex connected to the history of the garrison area. It covers a wide time period, from the Swedish-Finnish defense forces of the 16th century to units from the Civil War and the Second World War, including peacekeeping and post-war troops. A memorial stone is dedicated to the Jaegers of the Ostrobothnian battalion, who became the core of the Finnish army. Three marble plaques list the names of the units stationed here from the 16th century until the end of the 20th century. Artillerymen, Jaegers, staff units, and peacekeepers. During the Finnish Civil War in 1918, women took part on both sides of the conflict. In 1921, the Lotta Svärd organization was founded in the garrison. It brought together women who, although not involved in combat, worked closely with the army. They provided food, medical care, communication, and logistics. The charity work of the Lotta Svärd Foundation continues even today. The sculpture dedicated to the Lottas was created by Thea Helenilund, who served as a radio operator during the war. Today, this area is a public and cultural space with a peaceful purpose. Historic buildings now house kindergartens, an art school, creative studios, and various city organizations. Exhibitions, memorial ceremonies, different events, and guided tours are held here, focusing on the history of the garrison and 19th century architecture. Some buildings are under restoration and being prepared for a new life. The park at the heart of the area has become a favorite place for locals to relax. When designing the Church of St. Nicholas the Wonder Worker, Carl Axel Sederberg took inspiration from an Orthodox church in Kekisalmi. Its interior, built in the Neo-Byzantine style, included items donated by the merchant Lisitsin to the garrison church of Vasa, as well as icons and church vessels brought from St. Petersburg. At the same time, the architect Carl Axel Sederberg was also building the Lutheran church. Walking from the Orthodox Church toward Church Boulevard, which connects the two churches, you will see a monument to Carl Axel Sederberg. Along the square are several educational buildings, and just one block further, another city landmark comes into view, the oldest and most beautiful water tower in Finland. It has stood over Vaasa for more than 100 years. The tower was built in 1915 as part of the new city water system. Its concrete tank holds 500 cubic meters and still helps maintain water pressure in the network. Today, the inside of the tower is also used for indoor climbing. In the distance, we can see the Wasaborg building, built in 1912. It stands right in the center of modern Vaasa. Soon, we'll be there. But for now, we're getting closer to the Church of the Holy Trinity, one of the bright symbols of the rebuilt city. Söderberg made the plans and budget for its construction in 1857. The first church service was held in 1862, and the official opening took place in 1869, after the interior work was completed. In the 1960s, the church was restored, and it is still active today. The church is considered one of Vaasa's architectural landmarks and the city's main church. This is the eastern part of the building, where the altar is located. The main facade of the church is built in neo-Gothic style, decorated with a tall spire, pointed arches, and large windows that give the building a slender and bright appearance. In front of the main entrance stands a monument to Zacharias Topelius, a historian, writer, and educator with a controversial reputation due to his pro-Russian stance. The central district of Vaasa is mostly built up with gray, box-like buildings from the 1950s to 1970s. The architecture reflects the style of functionalism, typical of Finland's post-war modernism. Against this backdrop stands the Vaasa Market Hall, Vaasan Kauppahalli, built in 1902 in the neo-Gothic style. It is one of the oldest operating market halls in Finland, preserving its historical character. The market square, Kaupatori, is the heart of city life. It is surrounded by shops, offices, kiosks, and summer cafes. Fairs, festivals, and concerts often take place here. Since 1995, there has been a two-level underground parking garage beneath the square. the center stands the Statue of Freedom, Vapaudenpatsas, unveiled in 1938 to commemorate the victory of the white forces in the Finnish Civil War. The sculpture symbolizes liberation and the fight for independence. One of the most distinctive buildings on the square is the Hartman House, Hartmanin Talo, built in 1913. It still hosts the main office of the Hartman Company, which has continued in the same field for 150 years, preserving family tradition and continuity over 5 generations.
Günde 3 saat hidra yapsak seninle demek ki günde 9-10 won para yapacağız.
Walking along Hovioi Kuden Puistiko Boulevard, we come across another well-preserved building, Kurtania House, formerly the Vasa Cooperative Bank. Built in the Art Nouveau style, it is named after Anders Joachim Kurten, one of the most influential figures in Vasa's history during the late 19th century. Now let's take a look at the city's favorite recreation spots and enjoy a walk along the waterfront. One such popular spot is the beach and park on Hietasaari Island. Today, it was the final destination of the annual Vaasa Pride 2025 Family Parade, dedicated to equality, non-discrimination, and human rights. The march began at the market square and continued through the city streets, ending on the island. In the park, participants enjoyed a picnic program in the open air, with music, performances, and a warm sense of community. From Hietasaari Island, there's a panoramic view of Haaviska Park and the Inner Harbor Promenade, another favorite spot for locals. The Court of Appeal, Hovioikeus, is a building constructed in 1862 by architect Carl Zetterberg during the city's reconstruction after the Great Fire. The jurisdiction of this court covers coastal, southern, and central Ostrobothnia, as well as the regions of Satakunta and central Finland. Nearby is Strampen, the city's most iconic restaurant, with a history of over 150 years. Known for its excellent cuisine and professional service, it remains one of Vaasa's top dining destinations. Always busy, always welcoming. The most prominent building in the Inner Harbor is the old Customs Warehouse, built in 1879. Since 2007, it has housed the Kuntsi Museum of Modern Art, named after Simo Kuntsi, whose extensive collection laid the foundation for the museum's exhibitions. To the north rise two wooden towers, historic grain elevators of the Vaasa Ångfarn steam mill, built in 1891. Grain was once offloaded here directly from ships. The mill operated for over a century, until 1992. Today, the brand Vaasan remains one of Finland's most recognized names in bread and baked goods. Since 2007, the entire former mill complex has been used by the student union and is part of the Åbo Akademi campus, Finland's only fully Swedish language university. The main buildings of the campus and the University of Applied Sciences are located on the island of Hietasaari. At the southwest tip of the island, in front of the Domus Bothnica building, stands the sculpture Auringon Lapsi, child of the sun. The centaur figure symbolizes the connection between nature and the human soul, expressing a longing for light, knowledge, and freedom. A large part of the campus is occupied by the historic Fabriiki area, a former cotton factory founded in 1856. Today, its solid brick buildings house university laboratories, offices, conference spaces, game zones, and a startup center. This place has become a symbol of combining industrial heritage with innovation. The old wooden workers' houses have been restored and are now used as student housing and administrative offices. Across the street is Ostrobothnia, one of the largest technical laboratories in Northern Europe, focusing on engineering and applied research. The Ankuri Vocational College offers applied programs in technology, logistics, energy, and social services. It plays an important role in training professionals needed in the regional economy, especially in the energy and technical sectors. Tritonia Library serves students from local universities, offering access to textbooks and academic resources. It features study rooms, classrooms, self-service areas, and a cafe. The Alir building is dedicated to training students in social and health sciences. They gain hands-on experience under the guidance of skilled instructors. A health center located in the same building provides basic care and mental health services. There is also a popular meeting place, Café Alir. The central VAMK building focuses on studies in applied sciences, engineering, business, and information technology. It includes modern lecture halls, computer labs, and spaces for group work. Lectures, team projects, and practical training take place here. The Palisari campus forms a unique educational cluster, bringing together universities, research centers, a library, and student facilities in one place. Its blend of historic industrial buildings and modern learning environments makes it one of the most impressive and beautiful campuses in Finland. The campus blends into the city's waterfront. Right behind the buildings begins a green shoreline with walking paths, a peaceful place to stroll by the water, and the Salmipuisto Park. On the way to the Maritime Museum, there's a carpet washing spot, Maton Pesupaikka. These places exist in every Finnish town. Even though carpets can now be cleaned in laundries, people still do it by hand. In Finland, it's almost a ritual, slow, calming, especially in summer. The museum is only open on weekdays, from 1 p.m. to 6 p.m., Today is Saturday, and the doors are closed. It's impossible to see all of Vaasa in one day. Every district has its own stories, neighborhoods, and atmosphere. And of course, the Kvarken archipelago deserves a story of its own, a unique natural site protected by UNESCO. I hope to make a separate film about it one day. And as a final stop in this film, there's one more remarkable place, just 11 kilometers south from here. Let's head there. This is the Meteorite Söderfjärden Visitor Center, located in the heart of an ancient meteorite crater over 520 million years old. The crater spans about 6.6 kilometers in diameter and once reached a depth of 300 meters. It was once a sea bay, later a swamp, and eventually became a lake. Inside Meteorite, there's an interactive exhibition about the crater's history and how it was drained. You'll find meteorite fragments and local discoveries that tell the story of the region's cultural past. In the 1920s, the crater was drained as part of the largest land reclamation project in Northern Europe. Canals were dug and pumping stations were built. Today, it's a fertile plain, though traces of the former lake are still visible. A monument honors August Holmström, 1893 to 1977, who led the drainage works from 1919 to 1927. Two pumping stations stand nearby. The old one, built in 1926, has been preserved as a museum. The newer one from the 1960s is still in operation, keeping the plain dry and fit for agriculture. There's also a bird-watching tower here. In spring, thousands of cranes gather in the area. It's one of Finland's largest crane stopovers. From the viewing platform, you can see the entire basin and a scale model of the solar system at a scale of 1 to 2 billion. With the sun and planets mounted on poles across the plain. The center is open daily from June 22nd to August 10th, from 12 to 1800 hours. Outside of that period, it's open on Sundays and Wednesday evenings. Thank you for watching until the end. If you enjoyed it, please support the channel with a like and a subscription. More journeys lie ahead. We're heading further north. See you in the next towns.